In 2015, proud paedophile Geoffrey Leonard was hospitalized due to heart troubles. Prior to this, Geoffrey agreed to participate in his first podcast. Geoffrey, firstly, thanks for the interview today.
Yes.
In 1983, you wrote the book Is Sexuality Good? You wrote, "We have had one sexual ice age at the end of the Victorian era."
One sexual ice age, primarily ice age. Yeah. Well, we did actually, yes. That's when all that rubbish about it was. What was his name? The author. Yes. I can't remember what the author's name was. Oscar Wilde. Now, it's the ice age. Probably the ABC said that we're going to have a very warm winter, and that it's going to be the warmest on record. We're now going to get into a very warm summer, the warmest on record. But I said no, because as a good scientist, I noticed certain things, and I did work at a hospital with a faulty walk-in refrigerator. The door was open; it wouldn't close properly, and it iced over within a day. Completely covered, absolutely riddled with ice. It was because the warm air went into the refrigerator and was frozen up immediately. It was because you got warm, moist air entering into the, and the Arctic Circle, the Arctic Ocean, is a refrigerator. It's the driest place on Earth. But if you once the warm air starts to pass over it, warm air and wind and moist air which is laden with moisture passes over it, it'll just deposit in ice. So within a decade, you'll have an enormous accumulation of ice. Once that happens, and it's apparently happening now because the Gulf Stream is moving up, and the moist air and the warm air from the warm water from the Gulf Stream is passing under the North Pole. So you're going to have an ice age.
Right. Okay. Did you see the movie Ice Age?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, did you see any strange climatic conditions during your time at sea?
When I was in the sea. Oh, no, I never saw anything particularly strange climatically. I went to the ice was in Canada, in the St. Lawrence River. We docked once or twice in Ottawa, which the St. Lawrence River ices up. So I have been through the ice, but I never saw anything particularly strange about climate when I was at sea. It was just that this other interested me, and I could have written a thesis on it, I suppose. The predictions about the cold, and instead of having a warmer than average winter, we've had the coldest winter for many years. I predicted that, and we predict we're going to have a very mild summer.
Now we have a question from one of our grubscribers, Vic Flange. He asks, "Mr. Leonard, how do you support yourself financially?"
I get a supplementary pension from Britain. When I was in the sea. When I was at sea, I paid into it. I did this voluntarily. Well, it's coming back at me now very nicely. And also, so this house is mortgaged, reverse mortgage to the Commonwealth Bank. So I got it, I've had a few $100,000 from the Commonwealth Bank.
Skull Queen of Gloom asks, do you remember World War II?
I can remember the Second World War quite well. I've got strong recollections of the Second World War. And Mum used to bring home the paper every day and I used to read it. And it was always the Herald. And it was, so I followed it up quite well. I remember when the war ended, and I'm a little bit annoyed now about this business of the saying sorry for Japan and everything, because they had no choice but to drop the phone. What's the ABC trying to tell us now? That Japan should have won the war? It's a great assault. But that's what they seem to be saying. And the Japanese would have fought every inch of the country, every inch, to what Germany did, and they had to actually. They were actually at Hitler's bunker when he suicided. The Germans didn't give an inch. They kept fighting to the end.
My family lost 5 members to the Japanese in that war.
You're not in the queue to say sorry to Japan.
No, definitely not.
Neither am I. Just simply because of not because of any immediate family relationship, but because the merits of the case. Unfortunately, who runs the ABC are the Greens. No, well, the Greens control Labour in this area. You're going to get, it's the Greens which control it. The ABC is the voice of the Greens.
And from Baelish86 1984, he asks, what were you doing in the 80s?
Well, I was at sea mostly of the time. It was during the Cold War.
That's interesting. Did you ever go into battle at all?
If the Cold War had heated up, we would have been in it. I went to Vietnam, went to a short period. It was a visit to Vietnam on a tanker. So I remember Vietnam was shot at on the tanker because it was during the Tet Offensive. They were shooting at the ships from the shore and from the gunships. Well, the gunships were not shooting. Well, I remember either the gunships shooting. Who were flying the gunships? I think the Yanks were. But the Viet Cong was shooting from the shore. And one of the ships was sunk. And one of them, the captain's daughter, was killed. And when we went through, we had to go down the Mekong River Delta. We weren't allowed on the deck. Well and truly down on the deck. I wasn't scared when we tied up. The strange thing about that, you ever don't think you yourself are going to get killed, probably if war had carried on, I wouldn't have been scared, I don't think. I thought it was all rather an adventure, yeah.
Grubscriber Kim Gant asks, could you please read a quote from one of your books?
Yes. I should have received sympathy for Michael Jackson.
Gabe Itch from Western Australia asks, would you ever talk to Ben Fordham again?
Well, Ben Fordham just wants to have me back in prison again. That's not very nice, is it?
Not nice for you, but nice for your victims, I suppose. Anyway, one of your most ardent supporters, Lake Fire, has written in asking, how do you compile your books?
An old Imperial typewriter, dates from the 1930s.
Our next query comes from Mr. Stinky Bum. Geoffrey, how...
Oh, don't call me Geoffrey, because people who call me Geoffrey are generally my enemies. Geoffrey! Wash your hands, Geoffrey. There was a famous advertisement. Wash your hands, Geoffrey. Oh, God. Geoffrey, yeah.
Well, Jeff, the question is, how is your health at the moment?
See, this is where I'm starting to suffer from dementia, which means that I'm losing my short-term memory. This is a problem. It's just oh, rheumatism causes the pain of old people, and a little bit.
Right. Well, I think we'll leave it there then. Once again, thanks for joining us in this podcast, Jeff.
Oh, come on, boy.
No, Jeff, I think we should stop for now. Good night. See you again sometime.
Looking forward to seeing you. A friendly face, and not something from the news corporation.
Thanks for listening to our Geoffrey Leonard 2015 podcast. Rate and subscribe to our channel. Coming up next, a sneak peek at future Geoffrey videos. Am I suggesting you subscribe? Well, yes.